For 2 days, the United States Women's Open Championship has come down to a duel between two good friends, Patty Sheehan and Juli Inkster. Through 16 holes, Juli, with a two-shot advantage, seemed headed toward her first Open Championship. After a rain delay of 1 hour and 45 minutes, Patty Sheehan went back to the 17th fairway and put this marvelous iron onto the green. It opened the door just a crack. And Patty kicked it in. 1 hole to go, trailing by a shot. Now from the 18th fairway, it was Juli. And when the ball landed on the 18th green, it seemed like Inkster was headed for the title. But in one of the most courageous finishes ever in a Women's Open, Patty Sheehan would not surrender. With fierce determination, Sheehan watched Inkster putt for her birdie and a championship. When Juli left it short, it was Patty Sheehan stepping up for the opportunity to force a playoff. She made the most of it. And now those bonds of friendship will be strained one more time. It's 18 holes. Patty Sheehan, Juli Inkster. At stake, the most prestigious prize in women's golf, the United States Open Championship. ESPN, the Total Sports Network, and the United States Golf Association proudly present live the 18-hole playoff of the United States Women's Open Golf Championship. Mighty Oakmont, outside of Pittsburgh. It's seen 18-hole playoffs before. Back in 1962, there was a young man by the name of Jack Nicklaus. He wasn't a legend then. In fact, he'd never won on the professional circuit. But on a Sunday against the man from Latrobe, Pennsylvania, Jack Nicklaus went out and won the United States Men's Open Championship in an 18-hole playoff. And now the women have come to Oakmont for the first time ever, and 2 of them will march to the first tee for their 18-hole playoff. It has been a wonderful championship so far. Patty Sheehan and Juli Inkster have dominated along with some fierce weather. Play was interrupted for 4 hours on Thursday and yesterday for 1 hour and 45 minutes. Our forecast today, cloudy, and it has been overcast all morning.
Oh,
Nerves,
so
tension, not a bit of it so far. Patty Sheehan on the left, Juli Inkster on the right. The best of friends. Will they be as close when this ends? Steve Melnick, they're ready to test a very difficult first hole.
It is a formidable start to a tough golf course. The second most difficult hole all week at 419 yards. Par is an excellent score here as the landing area is framed by bunkers right and left with an out of bounds farther right. Second shot downhill to one of the more distinctive greens here at Oakmont. It slopes away from you from front to back. As we said before, would be a great opening score for both players.
Steve, let's go to Marika Pouch now of the United States Golf Association Women's Committee, and she will start them.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the playoff for the 1992 United States Women's Open Championship. The referee for today's pairing is Ann Beard of Essex Fells, New Jersey, chairman of the Women's Committee of the United States Golf Association. Her observers are Judy Bell, Secretary of the United States Golf Association, and Will McGillivan, Vice Chairman of the Women's Committee of the United States Golf Association. The players are Juli Inkster of Los Altos, California, and Patty Sheehan of Reno, Nevada. Inkster has the honor. Fairway, please.
Patty Sheehan in the first cut of the rough here at Oakmont, and Julie Inkster safely in the fairway. The fairway, incidentally, quite soggy because of all the rain that the course has taken on the last few days. And our 18-hole playoff is underway. Neither has ever won an Open Championship. Good afternoon and welcome everybody. This is a little bit of televised golf history. This is the first time that an 18-hole playoff has ever been covered live from the first through the 18th hole. And if we're still tied, the two women will go out to the 10th and play sudden death. So we invite you to sit down and relax and enjoy. It should be a wonderful competition here, and I've had some great help up here in the commentary position. Rhonda Glenn has been on my side throughout this championship. She's been thrilled by the proceedings so far. And Rhonda, I must say that the two women really took different approaches to getting ready for this.
You're exactly right, Brent. It's goosebump time, by the way, isn't it? Well, Julie Inkster is sticking to the same routine. She has won 16 tournaments on the LPGA Tour, so she's trying to stick with what works. She went home last night, had pizza with her family and a few friends, and incidentally said she had a few beers, and she came out to the golf course early today, as she always does, hit lots of balls, as she always does, with her husband Brian watching her golf swing. He's her instructor. And then she even submitted to an interview. Patty Sheehan, on the other hand, has really crumbled in 3 previous Women's Open attempts, so she is changing everything. She came out to the golf course very late today, decided not to do any interviews, went out, just hit a few balls. She's trying to keep it casual and pretend that it doesn't matter at all.
Let me put you on the spot. Pick a winner for me.
Well, it's tough. Either one of them would be a great story, but I think Patty Sheehan has the momentum.
Okay, Rhonda. And Steve Melly, both of them shot fine 69s yesterday. Will we have that kind of scoring here today in the playoff?
I don't see either competitor shooting a low score today, Brent. I think it'll be a cat and mouse game throughout the day. It's not match play, but it's close to it. I think we'll see both competitors around par, and it could come down to the last hole.
And Steve, Judy Rankin's out on the course, and Patty Sheehan will go first with her second at the first hole.
Well, right now, Patty Sheehan is looking at the lie of her golf ball in the
see
first
any water
rough.
really around the ball, Patty. If you take your stance, and if there's any water that we see around
This became a big moment in the 18th hole yesterday.
I don't see any water.
When
Okay,
Patty
that's
was off in the first cut, and
That's
there
when
was
you need the 10 extra
casual
pounds.
water. She got a drop in the fairway.
183, 206.
And that was Ann Beer, chairman
Flag
of the
just a
USGA
little left
Women's
of the
Committee,
pole.
giving that ruling. Obviously not detecting any standing water around the ball or when she took her stance, so she will not get relief.
Well, I wondered if she might have been questioning the fact that the ball is sitting in a moderate tire track from probably a golf cart. In the case that she's in this short rough, this tire track, though, may have probably helped her because she has no grass up behind the ball. She can get a clean hit on it. 206 yards down the hill back to the hole.
Two iron. Take it just a little bit right of the pole.
Well, you heard Carl, her caddy, say 2-iron. Take it just to the right of the hole.
Good turn there. Now take the kid. Take it.
Fine golf shot. Great beginning.
Well, that is better than a fine golf shot, Judy. That's a superb shot. That's about 10 feet away.
Well, now Julie inside the 200-yard mark, 197 by my count.
Turn in, sweet pea.
Both Inkster and Sheehan are on the green here in the first hole of their 18-hole playoff. Patty Sheehan in better shape, and we will continue. So the last playoff for a Women's Open Championship came in 1987. Laura Davies won that one. This is the 7th playoff in the 47-year history of the great championship. Julie Inkster is away here on the first green.
Well, one of the 2 noisiest greens on the golf course with the turnpike looming just behind. Julie longish putt here, quick, and we'll go from her left to right.
Yesterday coming in, Julie hit some poor approach putts and kept leaving herself these 3, 4, and 5 footers, which she subsequently made. But today's not the day to put additional pressure on yourself.
Neither of these players has played in an 18-hole playoff before. Both have played in a number of sudden death playoffs, and although those are very different, it might be interesting to make a comparison. Julie Inkster is 4-1 in sudden death, and Patty Sheehan is 4-6 in sudden death. So in sudden death anyway, Julie Inkster much the better record.
Well, this is a very different beginning than Patty had yesterday. She did not play this hole well yesterday, left with a bogey. Now she has a very legitimate birdie opportunity.
Maybe she didn't go to sleep last night. Maybe she just decided to keep it going.
This was a hole that played to a stroke average of 4.57 during the tournament. Second toughest hole in the entire golf course.
Patty Sheehan Goes up by a stroke with that birdie. Perhaps you could see some of the cars in the background there on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, and certainly the noise was obvious, wasn't it? Rhonda takes a look.
There is no mistaking this Oakmont Country Club for any of the other venerable USGA championship sites. For one thing, it is bisected by the granddaddy of American multi-lane highways. The Pennsylvania Turnpike cuts right through Oakmont. There are 7 holes on one side of the turnpike, 11 on the other side. Oakmont's narrow bridge over the Pennsylvania Turnpike is as much a part of the club's heritage as the infamous Oakmont putting green. The bridge is 156 feet long and only 10 feet wide.
So the fans and the competitors now come across the bridge, which takes them up above the turnpike over to the second tee. Steve, Patty Sheehan's second shot there was magnificent.
Brent, to put her birdie into perspective, there were only 12 birdies on the first hole during the entire 4 rounds of this championship. And after making bogey at this hole yesterday, as Judy Rankin said, she turns it around with a birdie here, but set off by a great 2-iron second shot. I think we learned a lot about Patty Sheehan when we watched her second shot at 18 yesterday. Inkster was already in there, had a makeable putt. What does Patty Sheehan do? Hits it dead to the flagstick, makes it from 16 feet. Second hole is
Julie Inkster said that although she has great experience in match play and his wonderful victories in match play tournaments, that she would not approach this like match play because you can have 2-shot swings in stroke play, and that's so different from match play where you can only lose 1 hole at a time. So she's tried to play the golf course today and not her opponent.
Patty's hit 3 wood off this tee. Good position.
Well, you can see how wet those fairways are. That ball just hit and almost clubbed.
And also, Julie been a little bit longer throughout the championship off the tee, hasn't she, Rhonda, than Patty? The flag hanging limp there in the background here at Oakmont. Overcast day. A little bit brighter than it was this morning when we got up.
They do measure 8 holes for drives out here, and in the average tee shot, Julie's been hitting the ball 232 yards, Patty 213 yards, and that means no roll.
Judy, how do you assess the moods of the 2 competitors?
Well, Brent, I talked to both of them on the putting green. I asked Julie if she had the energy left for this. She said, if you can't have the energy for this, there's something wrong with you. And if you thought Patty's move at coming out late was strategy, wrong. You can never figure out what a woman's going to do. She forgot her golf clubs this morning. Had to go back 25 minutes and get them to get here to tee off. They're off to a good start.
That's wonderful. You got an 18-hole playoff for the biggest prize in women's golf, and you leave your clubs. Now, that would never happen to the women that I know. There's the playoffs in the past. Boy, Rhonda, some great names there.
Well, and might mention Barbara McIntyre, the first amateur and only amateur in a playoff in 1956, narrowly losing the Women's Open, is a member of the USGA Women's Committee and has been helping to run this championship. Laura Davies defeating Ayako Okamoto and Joanne Carter. Boy, that was a thrilling year. Any playoff makes it a thrilling championship.
Steve, you won an amateur championship here at Oakmont. Your impressions of the women's play here this weekend?
Brent, as I said to you yesterday, I'm impressed with their play. You know, it's easy to say that you're impressed because they're women playing golf. I'm impressed because they're playing great golf, despite the gender that you may want to tag to this. They shot 4 under par to finish with 280. Only Johnny Miller in 1973 has broken 280 here at Oakmont. I think what Julie Inkster and Patty Sheehan have done this week is really set themselves apart from the rest of their competitors this week, and it's a great score here at Oakmont.
That's the 18th green, empty now, but large crowds here at Oakmont. And now we'll go back to Patty Sheehan's second shot. In case you just joined us, this is an 18-hole playoff for the United States Women's Open Championship. You're looking at Patty Sheehan right now, who birdied the first hole and holds a 1-stroke advantage over her good friend.
Take your time now, good tempo.
Well, she looks at 128 yards uphill, hole cut in the front portion of this green.
Get up.
Get up.
Fairways are noticeably more wet. They were not able to mow them this morning. They mowed the greens, they mowed the tees, they mowed the collars, but the fairways in the rough were too wet for bows.
Which could make that rough even more difficult, Judy, especially as the day goes on here.
Now Julie inside of 120 yards. 9-iron, maybe even a pitching wedge for Julie.
Get up there. Get up.
Wonderful shot. That left for a birdie. Julie Inkster, who yesterday was steadier, although Patty Sheehan was certainly explosive coming home. And we'll continue. We are back on the second green of this women's playoff. Patty Sheehan is away. Steve Melnick, how quick was this green back in '69, and how does it measure on the stimp meter now?
Well, fortunately, we've had a lot of rain this week. Both the 62 Open and then the Amateur 69. Legend had it that you dropped the ball on the back of the green and it would roll off the front, so that you can't really appreciate the slope that these players have to deal with. But this is a tough green to putt.
This is a roller coaster putt. It's uphill, obviously, but goes over a big hump, goes up, and then back down to the hole.
Judy, what are the greens rolling today?
Well, I can't tell you in specifics, Rhonda, but I don't think they're a great deal different than they were yesterday, at least before the rain. Julie and Patty both talked during the rain delay about how quick the greens were. In fact, Julie made the remark that it seemed as though some of those putts were exploding in her hands, leaving her those difficult second putts.
That's remarkable, and it's certainly a wonderful job by the green crew. All the rain they've had to be able to keep those greens mopped up like that and keep them at good speed. Mark Coons and his crew out here, plus the crew from Fox Chapel Golf Club that they drafted. Some of them working 34 hours straight to keep this golf course as dry as possible.
Well, and they don't have to battle any earlier traffic on the greens today. They're as nice as they can be.
This now for the tie.
This should be a right edge putt. What I like about Inkster's stroke is she's very aggressive on these little ones. She doesn't try to lag it in the hole or die in the hole. She wraps it in. She's got great nerves. Hit it through the break. I still like her stroke despite her miss here. She has a routine very similar to Davis Love. Very quick over the ball. Doesn't waste much time.
Missed an opportunity there.
I like her stroke because she putts with what we call the Y. She keeps this whole unit together as she putts. Watch as she takes it back. Everything stays together. Straight back. Straight through. There's very little wrist break. That's a stroke that'll hold up under pressure. I don't care that she missed that putt. She's got a great stroke.
So a pair of pars on the second hole, and Patty Sheehan with her birdie on the first hole holds a one-stroke advantage over Julie Inkster. This is an 18-hole playoff for the United States Women's Open Championship. With Steve Melnick and Rhonda Glenn, Judy Rankin, I'm Brent Musburger. Those of you who are expecting your regular programming on ESPN, it will return tomorrow. And for the next 3 hours, we're going to bring you hole-by-hole coverage of this 18-hole playoff. And we should point out that the front nine is certainly stretching the ability of our director, Jim Jeanette, to maneuver his cameras around and pick up the coverage, as we were not wired for the entire 18 holes here at Oakmont. And we cut away as our fellows there on the front nine scrambled to pick up the competitors at the next tee. And then along about the 9th hole, we will settle into our normal television configuration and give you some beautiful coverage of the finishing holes here at Oakmont. This has been a grand tournament with great crowds, and Patty Sheehan, our leader now, the third tee, and there's the aim point in the background.
And that aim point from the tee just splits the middle of the fairway.
Very tight driving hole. Bunkers up in the landing area.
Yes, shot.
That pole is really there more for the second shots than the tee shots, because from where the second shots will come to rest, they can't see the green surface. Now let's take a look at this beautiful third hole here at Oakmont, playing 378 yards. It doesn't look that difficult from the tee, and yet it's the third most difficult hole on the golf course this week. Second shot is really a blind one to a plateaued green, relatively flat green, perhaps the flattest green on the entire golf course. But it's a tough second when you can't see your target.
The trademark of Oakmont, the Church Pew bunker, and if you hook your tee shot into there, it can be a nasty experience, and then it'll come back on the left side on the 4th hole also. Famous scene here at Oakmont, located about 30 minutes outside of Pittsburgh. This city has had a newspaper strike for the last couple of months and has been nasty at times, and hopefully they're about ready to get that settled. So Julie Inkster was asked by Frank Hannigan if she prefers 18 holes as a playoff or the sudden death version.
No, I think the U.S. Open, you know, it's got that tradition. I think you've come to expect that. I think it'd lose a little bit if you just had a playoff. You know, you play 4 good rounds. You hate to decide it on one hole. I think this is the way to do it.
Rhonda, do you agree that this is the way to hold the playoff?
It's the national championship. Certainly, I agree.
Very still this morning. The wind was a real factor in yesterday's round, but fairly humid this morning. No breeze is really noticeable.
This is the hole where Patty Sheehan hit the flag stick with her second shot the other day and almost holed it out. Got a 3.
A big turnaround for her, too.
Yeah, a little.
Rhonda, she had bogeyed the first 2
Yeah,
holes.
you don't need it all.
Well, 169 yards, plays sharply uphill. Patty has to go
And you
at
want
least
to take it
3
right
iron.
out of it, just a touch left, because everything will go toward the right corner. Good turn now.
Well, Carl has reminded her to make that good turn for 3 days that I know of.
Good swing.
Now Julie on the right side of the fairway, the hill makes the shot even more blind than it was to Patty. I think Patty was able to see the top of the flag. I doubt that Julie can. About 160 yards.
562.
Good swing.
Yeah, I like it.
Julie Inkster led the entire field this week in greens and regulation.
That's
So,
nothing in the
tee to
way.
green, she's
Now if there's a
superb.
little breeze.
Only missed 1 fairway and 1 green on Sunday.
Is it all the way back there?
No, you got the 90.
Exceptional shots here at the third.
Should Julie Inkster win here today, it's highly likely that she'll win another U.S. Open in her career. She's got a knack for repeating. She's won 5 different tournaments twice. Julie Inkster has played the front 9 in 3 under par through 4 rounds of this championship. Sheehan has played in 1 under par. Right now, Julie finds herself trailing by a stroke here as Patty Sheehan birdied the first hole, and Julie is away here on the 3rd.
Most of Julie's career that I've been familiar with, she putted with a heel shafted putter and went to the putter she's using now back in late March. Changing putters is one thing. I think going from a heel shafted putter to something different is a big change in putters.
Judy gives you a different look. Sometimes you have a problem with alignment, and sometimes a different shaft. You know, the old Schenectady putter had the center shafted putter there that Walter Travis used for years. I don't think we'll see too many mistakes today by either player. They're playing so well from tee to green. It's unlikely we'll see any carelessly played shots. This may be a round when we see a lot of pars, very few birdies, very few bogeys.
Neither Patty nor Julie has made a double bogey in this competition.
At the beginning of the week, all the competitors referred to Oakmont as a monstrous course, believed it was going to be very difficult to score well, and indeed it was, and they said that their target was to make pars, 2-putt pars.
Good try.
Well, Rhonda, to add to that, I have to say that I was inwardly a skeptic as to the comparisons that might be made here in women's golf after so many terrific men's champions have been crowned here. But with these two players both shooting 280, I'm going to take a woman's prerogative and change my mind. They have to be very proud for that to go in the record book.
Okay, Patty.
Now both driving the ball well off the tee. Patty Sheehan's wonderful second shot on the first hole set up the only birdie so far as they move over to the fourth tee, Steve, and we can take a look.
4 is a terrific dogleg right par 5 at 527 yards. They're the church pews once again. You want to keep your tee shot just to the right of those church pews. It's a 3-shot hole. The second shot will flirt with the bunkers on the right. Typically, you'll be left with a shot of between 70 and 100 yards for your third. The flagstick today is in the back left-hand portion, the toughest pin on the green.
Boy, those are even tougher looking in person than when you see them in video. That is really a nasty bunker there.
Well, when the Phones designed this course, the father and son combination, they wanted it to be tough. In fact, at one time there were over 300 bunkers on this course. The church pews, one of the great vestiges which they have left here.
Of course, in their day, they didn't have all these leafy trees, did they? Patty Sheehan now on the tee.
Shot.
Inkster went with a big-headed driver this year. That's why she thinks she's driving them off better than ever.
Boy, that one backed up.
Not much roll on these wet fairways here today at Oakmont. Well, we've been talking about 18-hole playoff, which is used by the USGA, and the man who certainly is worthy of listening to on that subject is our Frank Hannigan.
I have been asked to explain, if not defend, the use by the United States Golf Association of an 18-hole playoff for its championships when every other golf tournament of any consequence in this country is decided by sudden death on Sunday. The 18-hole playoff is widely regarded as archaic, anticlimactic, and above all, inconvenient. The minority who defend the old system say that one hole by chance or design can give one player an advantage over the other. They also cite the sanctity of a complete round of golf, 18 holes. Look, this is a matter of faith. It's like school prayer or reducing the capital gains tax. You either believe or you don't believe. When I was with the USGA, working for a living, I was an adherent of the 18-hole playoff, although admittedly, I winced when one happened. Now, as a member of the media, I have a professional obligation, which I fulfill, to go into a deep depression when there is a tie at a National Open. There is a consolation in the understanding that the USGA decides these things on the basis of what it thinks is best for that amorphous entity known as the game. Golf is too important to be defined by broadcasters and writers.
All right, Frank.
You know, Brent, we almost faced that situation last week at the British Open. I like their way of establishing a championship. That's the 11th hole in the foreground.
Steve, before you put that away, you should explain what they do.
Well, Brent, it's a 4-hole playoff. It's an aggregate playoff. It's not true sudden death. It is decided on the day of the championship. They go immediately out. In the case of Muirfield, we're going to play holes 15 through 18.
Good turn now.
Second shot here, just has to make sure she keeps the ball in the fairway. Please tell Mr. Hannigan I hope he recovers from his deep depression.
That's fine.
But on the other hand, what could be better than two great players on a great golf course like this, 18 holes? It's just the only way in my mind to decide what amounts to a lifetime treasure. U.S. Women's Open Championship, or the Men's Open for that matter.
And I don't think there's any doubt today these two players feel this is the right way to decide this.
That is her plug mark right next to her ball. She cannot fix that. Now she can fix it.
Seemed to take similar bounces, didn't they, with their second shots. So we'll come back for their third shots here on the first of the 3 par 5s at Oakmont in a moment. Patty Sheehan leads Julie Inkster by a stroke in this duel for the United States Women's Open Championship. If they are tied at the end of 18 holes, then they will go to sudden death and they will start at the 10th hole. And right now Julie Inkster has a string of 11 consecutive pars, and that streak started at the 11th hole here yesterday.
We could see the pin placement there, or rather the flagstick placement. It's right up against a bunker, and that is the one place the players do not want to hit the ball. That bunker, which will be to the golfer's left, right behind the flagstick, because that's a very severe slope going down to the hole. Anyone in that bunker will have a lot of difficulty stopping the ball.
Patty's got 141 yards, somewhere around 125 to make sure she carries on the green on a line to the hole. You know, a little bit of a grassy lie in the first cut of rough there.
It's my imagination, Judy, or has the pace of play been rather slow?
Well, it seems to be a little bit casual in speed. It certainly does. Well, a ball she didn't hit quite as flush as some others, came up about a half a club short.
Maybe protective of a flyer.
I think possibly she may have hit it a little bit heavy, Steve. There was just enough grass up behind the ball to make it tough for a very clean impact. Julie now 125 yards. This third shot plays downhill. She can most probably hit her wedge.
And the duel continues. When golf experts talk about greens, Oakmont's leap readily to mind. And here now, Patty Sheehan and Julie Inkster will test the par 5 fourth.
Well, Julie missed a short opportunity back at the second to pull even in this playoff. This is the best opportunity she's had other than that.
Julie winning last week on the LPGA Tour in the Jow Classic. Patty has 2 victories this year, back-to-back victories. In the Rochester International, she really romped through the field. She was 19 under par and set a new 72-hole tournament record.
Couple of solid performances so far with 1 birdie. Patience, the order of the day. 18-hole playoff, and Patty Sheehan yesterday birdied the 17th and the 18th holes. Being a technician for ESPN and ABC requires that you do a little bit of everything to keep these cameras moving. Get our flats fixed and get the valves all shut down properly. And now it's Patty Sheehan, and she has parred the 5th each of the 4 rounds here. Solid off the tee so far.
She's used the 3-wood off the tee now 3 times.
Both of these players playing with the one version or the other of an oversized metal head driver.
This is one hole where you cannot afford to hit it in the rough, where the ditch comes into play on the second shot.
See the absence of the rolls because of the waterlogged fairways.
Well, that's the factor at Oakmont that we really did not expect. Oakmont normally fast, firm, lots of rolls, lots of bounces. People thought, well, is this the true character of Oakmont? I believe in some ways it's harder because the greens have kept much of their character on putting, but the course is playing much longer, and this is already the second longest women's open course in history at 6,312 yards.
I guess the only spot where it would be any easier in this situation, Rhonda, would be throwing those irons in a little bit closer to the flagstick, huh? If they...
Yes, exactly.
This is one of the finest swings in all of women's golf. Notice almost the straight line her left arm and the shaft make it address. What she does, which is a little different from Inkster, is that Sheehan starts the club head first and her hands kind of hang back. Let's take a look. Breaks the club up a little quicker. She's a little flatter than Inkster. She has a very straight left arm at the top of her swing. She swings the club just past parallel at the top. And from there, she keeps her head way back behind the ball at impact. Let's take a look on the forward swing. Notice how far back her head is. Clears her left side nicely. Plays a tee shot that's primarily right to left. Beautiful swing, beautiful balance.
This is the 18th green, and along about 9:30 this morning, this couple showed up out here and took position 1 and 1A, and they have been there ever since, and they are following the progress of this playoff on the giant scoreboard, which is off to their left as you watch them, and they look at the numbers that are posted up there on the big board. Patty Sheehan putting a red 1 up on the first hole and maintaining that lead, and that grandstand figures to start to fill up a little bit later. You can see the press area and the parking lots, and there's the traveling USGA scoreboard. And when you think about it, we've had 3 wonderful major championships here recently, haven't we? That board was the 18th at Pebble Beach when Tom Kite won, and then I was over at Saucon Valley, also in Pennsylvania, when Larry Loretti captured the Senior Open.
You know, patience is sometimes a hard thing to define in major championships and on these very difficult golf courses, but I think it's evident here with Patty, and the fact that she is content to hit the 3-wood off the tee with Julie hitting it so far by her.
Good turn, man.
Staying with her game plan. 158 yards here. She's taking a 5-iron. Wants to grip down on it just a little bit. This is not a green where you want to land too short, or you could back the ball off the green.
Be right. Get on.
Now Julie looks at 131 yards. The shot plays downhill, a 9-iron.
To this 5th green. And we'll come back with more of our 18-hole playoff for the U.S. Women's Open Championship.
When it comes to women's golf, the pride and joy of this Pittsburgh area are a couple of amateurs. Carol Simple Thompson, who lives in the town of Sewickley, is a former women's amateur champion who has played on 7 American Curtis Cup teams. She's also the first woman member of the PGA of America's Advisory Committee. And her neighbor in Sewickley, Judy Oliver, is the captain of the 1992 American Curtis Cup team, which sadly lost to Great Britain and Ireland in June.
Patty Sheehan, who's getting ready up here on the 5th green, comes from an athletic background. Her father was the Olympic downhill ski coach in 1956, and Patty Sheehan here is an accomplished downhill skier herself. She competed seriously as a junior skier in many United States competitions, and now here she is with a one-shot advantage over her good friend Julie Inkster. Neither have won the Open Championship in the past. Patty let one get away badly 2 years ago down in Atlanta, when at one time, Rhonda, did you tell me she had a 9-stroke advantage in that competition?
In the last round, or rather the last 36 holes, she had a 9-stroke advantage. That's right. Then last year she had misfortune too, because she injured her finger very badly the week before the Women's Open. It took her almost 17 months for that injury to heal completely. It made her lose her club at the top of her swing, but now she's fully recovered and playing great.
Now Julie with a chance to tie.
Well, these two very delicate putts from up above the hole. I think Julie's caught an angle, though, where her ball will not break hardly at all. I think that she can hit this right at the hole gently.
You explained earlier, Judy, that she felt that the ball was sort of exploding off her putter face yesterday, and many of her putts went a long way past the hole. Is there going to be a chance of that happening on this one?
Oh, I don't think that. I really think what she was saying there was that it felt like an explosion because the greens were fooling her. I don't think at any point she lost confidence in her touch and feel.
Right, but this is a delicate putt, so you think it's going to be pretty fast?
Very fast. Well, if we've seen anything since the back nine yesterday, Julie has given herself a number of opportunities, and maybe she's tried to force the ball in the hole just a little bit.
Sometimes when you hit a lot of greens, as she has, Judy, I think it does put pressure on you because you think you should make birdies, particularly in a course as difficult as Oakmont.
Steve, what, has she missed one green since play began yesterday morning?
One fairway and one green. That's right.
Taking a lot of time on this one.
Again, those of you who are expecting regular programming on ESPN has been preempted by this live coverage of an 18-hole playoff for the United States Women's Open Championship. We'll give Jake and his bodybuilding, I guess, one day off, Steve Melnick. I know how you enjoy that show. That's one of your favorites.
I planned my whole day around it, Brent. Another look at Patty Sheehan's putt. Putt slides to her right. It looks good about 3 feet from the hole. Oh, they've got to be perfect to go in here at Oakmont. 6 is a simple par 3 uphill, 168 yards, bunkers all around. Another steeply pitched green. Flagstick today in the left-hand side. If you go above the cup on the right, you're faced with a slick putt down toward the flagstick. You know, every hole here at Oakmont looks like it belongs. It's a real tribute to the club because this was farmland when this course was first built. They have added trees out here, these white oaks of Oakmont, but they put trees that are outside the boundary of play. They really don't kind of enclose the fairways like you would find, say, at a Wingfoot.
Well, we haven't had a mistake in this match so far. Not one bogey. The birdie belongs to Patty Sheehan. That was back on the first hole when, from the first cut, she hit a wonderful shot to the green. there is where it is cut here today. The 6th.
It'll play just 3 or 4 yards longer than that measured yardage. Another good-looking iron shot.
Fine crowd marching along here on this Monday just outside of Pittsburgh. A ray of sunshine breaking through. Certainly a welcome sight, but I can almost see that rough growing on the back 9.
The mowers throughout the week had difficulty getting out. It was so wet. They would have bogged down. They were able to cut the rough within the ropes. However, the rough outside of the ropes was as much as 6 inches deep, according to USGA officials. Inside the ropes, about 3 inches.
These two have taken the rough completely out of it, though, haven't they, with their accuracy?
Sure have.
4 and 5 irons here for these two players. Julie's hit it just to the right side of the green.
So we'll come back. It's Patty Sheehan and Julie Inkster for a championship. Julie Inkster travels on the professional circuit with her husband Brian and 2-year-old daughter Haley, and Julie and family live in the San Francisco area, where they are fanatical followers of the 49ers and the Giants. And Julie jokingly says that Haley is going to be brought up watching ESPN instead of Sesame Street.
I believe Haley's up in the nursery. They've had a nursery here all week for the children of the players. I went up there the other day, and there were about 6 little toddlers up in the old ladies' locker room having fun.
So, Steve Melnick, you're Big Bird today.
I've been called worse.
I'll take it from there, Steve.
Thank you, Judy.
One of the things that makes these greens so very difficult is it's very tough to get the ball below the hole. Another delicate putt.
It's easy to say, you know, hit it under the flagstick, but your first priority here at Oakmont is to hit the greens first.
Well, and I do think for greens that have a lot of slope to them, it's as hard to get the ball below the pin as any place I've ever seen.
This course gets my vote as the toughest set of greens in America.
One of the gallerites yesterday, watching them putt on number 2, which had a very severe break to the green, said, well, the members at Oakmont have so much money, you'd think they could level out the greens.
Well, this green really pitches from right to left. The right side very high, the left side low.
Doesn't want to misstep here coming back.
Well, I called her one of the best short putters in women's golf today, earlier this week. I still believe that. I think she stays very still over the putt, and I think that she has the ability to swing the putter with a nice full stroke on short putts. She doesn't get short and quick.
Well, she proved it right there, Judy.
Well, here's where the sort of match play factor may come into it a little bit. Patty just made a very difficult short putt first. Now Julie Inkster faced with a putt of some length, a little tricky one. She's got to have a delicate touch on this, and Patty's already made hers. So just to stay one stroke behind, she needs to make hers, and perhaps will feel a little bit more tension on this one. Well done.
Julie Inkster, 6 pars so far. Patty Sheehan, 5 pars and a birdie on the first hole. They will move to the par 4 7th, Steve.
7th is an uphill driving hole to the crest of a hill. Fairway bunkers right and left flank the landing area. And then it's a downhill second shot to a green, really built right into the fairway. Large bunker to the right really sort of frames the second shot. Flag stick today in the back right-hand portion. Tough spot. The beauty of Oakmont is that it was built before the days of the bulldozers. There are a lot of blind tee shots here and blind shots, but they built the course on the ground as they found it. Some of these purists or so-called purists today say there shouldn't be any such thing in golf as a blind shot, but of course, like Oakmont, there are a lot of blind shots and they fit.
Did they use the mules and scrapers on this one, Steve?
Mules and drag pans. Basically, they used a lot of men to get the golf course built. There were 150 men and 25 teams of horses and mules out here.
And the women would like to thank them all.
Steve, I'm on up the fairway a ways, but it looks to me as though Patty may have the 3-wood out again.
Shot.
You know, Steve, the way these two are hitting the ball, I think I'd let them tee off at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning.
You'd love to have either one of these as a partner. You look at Inkster's swing, it's very upright, and you keep thinking she's going to lose the ball to the right, and yet she's got such a good left side move through it. She squares the club face up every time.
That's her first mistake off the tee. Now, meanwhile, up ahead, this grounds crew, Steve, that has worked so diligently through the week. You talk about a group of fellas that have turned in some hours, and here they are cutting the new pin position. David Eager and his staff picking out the spots, and then the grounds crew goes out and gets it done for them.
They're actually wiping the paint up from the inside part of the cup. That's to make the cup more visible both to us and the competitors.
So that will be our scene at the finishing 18th. And either Patty Sheehan or Julie Inkster will come marching down, hoping to capture her first U.S. Women's Open Championship. They are on the 7th hole. Julie Inkster put her tee shot into a bunker. This is the first misstep, as you can see on the screen how their careers compare.
That's all we need.
Patty Sheehan only 2 victories away from the LPGA Hall of Fame if she wins another major championship other than the LPGA championship. It's complicated
68,
formula,
70.
but that's the
I'll tell you
best
what,
way to
that 4-iron that we
explain.
hit those other times, that was into the wind. I think we could go with that. Okay. Yeah, I think it's just a full 4. Got to take it in left of that flag now.
Well, he's doing my job for me.
That's Carl Live, Patty's caddy. Used to caddy for Betsy King for 3 years.
Good turn now, a little left of the flag.
Caddied Betsy to 2 U.S. Open wins.
Run it out.
Well, she said she missed it a little bit, but pretty good shot in there.
Well, she missed it the way you want to miss it in these wet conditions, just a little bit thin. Now Julie in that fairway bunker, she is far enough back though from the face of the bunker that I think she can play this shot. The ball sits nicely in the sand. Under 160 yards back to the hole. Easily a 6-iron for her. She may hit 7 just to put the ball on the center of the green. Well, she struck that very well, but pulled it left. I think it's caught the bunker.
And she's gone from bunker to bunker, Judy. So Julie Inkster's first misstep off a tee. And now she is unable to get onto the green, and this will be her 3rd shot here at the par 4. Patty Sheehan, see her ball up on the green.
This hole previously has been very good to Julie Inkster. She's birdied it twice, parred it once, and had 1 bogey.
This is the first green missed today by either of our competitors.
You know, Patty Sheehan was just very emotionally spent when the round finally ended yesterday, and I asked her this morning if she could muster up what it took for this, and she honestly said she didn't know. She hoped so.
But Judy, she's not put any pressure on herself, and just the opposite. She's now starting to put some pressure on Julie Inkster, because Patty Sheehan, for all intents and purposes, has not missed a shot today. Big advantage for Julie Inkster here, who's very upright with her club here. She gets the club up and out very quickly and picks the ball off this sand.
Steve, my question right here is, what about the alignment?
Well, she's aiming left. She's going to the fat part of the green. She just kind of pulled it there at the bottom. Very close to being a good shot, in fairness to Julie.
Well, and almost everyone faced with the lie that she had that situation would try to hit a little bit of a cut to get the ball up quicker.
What's the condition of the sand after all that rain?
Pretty much the condition of the rest of the course, Rhonda. The grounds crew here has done what could only be called an amazing job. The bunkers are fine.
It's good work by our camera fellows just to scramble around and give us some coverage on these holes that were not wired for this competition. Now Patty Sheehan.
Long putt about halfway to the hole. There's a crest. The ball goes up over a ridge.
Since this is stroke play, she can, of course, putt out if she chooses. In match play, she would have to wait until Julie Inkster played.
And then it rolled well past. I thought from that angle that we had, Steve, that she was going to hit the flagstick.
She must not have had a very good line. The ball came out fast and had no spin on it, so it could have been some sand around the ball, or the ball a cuppy line in the bunker.
Of course, if it's wet sand, that ball's going to fly further.
She appears to have the ball back in her stance, which is kind of unusual. Now, she may wanted to play a running type shot, but she just hit it too hard if that's the case. Let's take a look. Looks good going back. Actually kind of a long swing for such a short shot. Judy, your impressions of what happened there?
Well, I didn't think it was too bad a lie. The ball, you know, kind of plopped down in the sand just a little bit, but not to really make any difference. I think you might have called it right when you said she tried to play a shot to let it land and run onto the hole and just hit it too hard.
First real mistake of the day by either player.
Well, she's left herself in a tough spot here now because the ball rests right up against the cut of rough outside the collar. Right close to 20 feet for par.
So this will be our first bogey in the competition.
Suffered a little more than Patty during the rain delay after 16 holes yesterday. She said it was really tough to get her momentum back. And then, of course, since then, Patty has thrown 3 straight birdies at her. It's sort of discouraging. You start to feel a little bit anxious. Think, well, I don't have that many holes left. Just 11 more to play.
Taking a lot of time are both these players on short putts, at least in preparation. They're pretty fast once they get over the ball.
All week, slow was play, and I attribute it to the work on the greens. Some of the rounds over 5 hours.
So it's a 2-shot advantage now by Patty Sheehan. And we'll move to the par 3 8th hole, Steve.
Very ordinarily you could bounce the ball into this green, but as wet as it is, they'll fly out there today.
And that tee that you saw, it's on the right-hand side. That tee was especially constructed for the U.S. Women's Open. The members and previous championships, they've played from a tee that's over on the left side of the hole. From the right side, they really don't have to contend with the bunkers too much. You can see that it's wide open coming into the hole, but that's special for this championship.
Okay.
Yeah.
This shot should set up well for Sheehan, who plays right to left.
This hole cut in the back today makes it play quite a bit longer than the card reads. 195 yards back to the hole. If Patty's got her 2-iron, she can carry this 2-iron to the center of the green or a little bit past there and hope it takes one good jump.
The hole placements were done by Tim Morgan, a staff member of the USGA, and Judy Bell, a member of the executive committee of the USGA. So far today, on the holes that they've played, they seem to be mostly center or back hole placements.
Julie's got 3-iron.
Just like that great scoreboard at Fenway Park, the USGA's traveling scoreboard is hand operated, and already someone has put the bogey 1 up there for Julie Inkster. We are back at the Oakmont Country Club in Oakmont, Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh. This is the 18-hole playoff for the United States Women's Open Championship. Patty Sheehan and Julie Inkster. Sheehan holding a 2-stroke advantage, and those of you who are expecting your regular programming on ESPN, that will return tomorrow, as it has been preempted for the special coverage here of the playoff. Our leader, Patty Sheehan from Reno, Nevada.
Except for a little hump in the back left corner of this green. It's one of the flatter greens here. At least the slopes are not as severe as most. Patty's pretty much up on top. So even though putting off the frog hair, putt that shouldn't be as hard as some to read.
This may be an opening for Julie Inkster. That's about a 4 to 5 footer. Patty's left herself. Julie faced now with a chance at a birdie. If she makes it, it'll make Patty's putt an awful lot harder.
Putt that from my vantage point should move quite a little bit from her left to right. She's just kind of caught the slope of the little rise in the back left part of the green there.
What kind of long putter is Julie Inkster, Judy?
You know, I just think of her really as a good all-around putter, Steve. I don't know that I can accurately break it down.
This may give us an indication.
I know that early this year she was unhappy with her putting for the first time in many years.
Well, we've seen a lot of putts either come up short or long. That was my question. Either it's the pace of the greens that bother her or the fact that her stroke's not very good from, say, over 20 feet.
Well, I really think it's a function of the U.S. Open, trying not to let one get away and trying to force one in the hole.
I always felt it's hard to try to make a long putt. You usually try to get it close and hope it goes in. I like Sheehan's little forward press as she gets set to go. That's her trigger. Get set. Kind of sets everything in motion.
Back across the turnpike they head for the 9th hole.
9 is the shortest par 5 here at Oakmont, an uphill par 5 of 475 yards, narrow landing area. It's been unreachable this week for all but the longest hitters in the field due to the soft conditions here. The 9th green is part of the putting green. This putting surface combined is a little over an acre. Takes about a half hour just to mow this green. Flagstick today in the left-hand side. I think we'll see a birdie up from one of these competitors today.
Well, Julie Inkster had a good day on this hole yesterday. She did make birdie. With the conditions so wet, I doubt the hole is reachable in 2.
There are the 3 easiest holes here at Oakmont. Only the short 17th, par 4 less than 300 yards, easier than the 9th.
There is the Oakmont clubhouse, and take a look at that top window there in the center. Very, very convenient camera platform.
Never have to worry about weather in there, do you, Brett?
Oh, you're close to the bar and the buffet table.
That's the putting green. The back 2/3 of this huge surface is considered putting green. Now, if a player's ball comes to rest back there and there are these holes that are there for practice putting, if they get in your way, that's too bad.
Well, Steve, I understand that's what you had to do in the amateur when you played that hole.
Well, hit the wrong club from the fairway, Judy, and darn near put it in the clubhouse, but got down and through from the back of the green. The left gable is Patty's aim point from here. Left gable on the clubhouse.
And she's going with the driver here.
Found the rough this time.
She could have a difficult second shot. The tree may bother her a little bit. Now she'll have to contend with that big fairway bunker also.
Tees on the other side of that fairway, out of play. Good looking swing there.
Just down the right side.
And also in the rough on opposite sides. The pressures of an 18-hole playoff between them yesterday. Juli Inkster and Patty Sheehan made a total of 9 birdies. So far in this playoff, there has been only one, and that was by Sheehan back on the first hole.
This is only the second Women's Open Championship played in the Pittsburgh area. The first was back in 1959 when the great Mickey Wright won the second of her 4 Women's Open titles at the nearby Churchill Valley Country Club. In those days, women professionals were playing for the love of the game as much as for money. Total prize money in the 1959 Women's Open was $7,200. This year, it's $700,000.
Patty Sheehan, who let a U.S. Women's Open title slip through her hands down in Atlanta, now with a 2-shot advantage over Juli Inkster as they come up with their second shots here on the par 5 9th hole. And both Sheehan and Inkster have hit their tee shots into the rough.
60.
Well, if you're going to miss a fairway,
We don't need to go any farther.
if you avoid the fairway bunkers and the little hazard on the left, this is a good fairway to miss because you just want to place the second shot to leave yourself 100 yards or
160
less
right
into
at the
this
scoreboard.
green.
Yeah, 5, 20 of club. Good turn now. That's fine. Beauty. Beauty. Okay, Joe.
So both of them are solid second shots, and Judy Rankin is with someone whom all of us are delighted to see here at this championship. Judy?
Well, Brent, I feel like one of those people who gets the first interview with somebody very important. Kathy Gehring's very important to a lot of people in golf. Kathy, you had a horrible, horrible accident in Nashville, terrible burns on your face and your hands. What's in store now?
Well, pretty much just a lot of rehabilitation, and just had some skin graft surgery on my left thumb. A lot of patience and a lot of what it takes out here to win this golf tournament.
Well, Juli Inkster was a great supporter of yours during your ordeal. You're a friend of Patty's and Julie's, but you told Juli if she was in contention, you'd be here.
I did, and Juli spent the week with me just before Farmore, and she's just really playing so good. Both of them are playing great, and I just think it's a shame that either one has to lose, but they're going to get a great champion no matter who wins, and that's what's important.
Well, a lot of your fans out there would like to know when you might be swinging a golf club again.
Well, I wish I knew. There's really no answer. I guess burns are something that I'm obviously new to, but something that not easy to predict how everybody's body reacts, because everybody reacts differently. But my hands seem to be coming along great, and my face came back fairly soon, so hopefully it won't be long.
Well, I wish you a lot of luck, and everybody does. Back to you, Brent.
Oh, thank you, Judy, and all our best wishes go to Kathy Gehring. She's the wife of Jim Gehring, the pro. We were with at Muirfield for Jack Nicklaus's tournament there, the memorial, and Gee, she looks great, doesn't she, Rhonda?
She does indeed. Fine player in her own right. Julie Inkster called her every day and visited her several times in the hospital. She has yet to birdie this hole. This looks like a good opportunity.
The only green she missed on that front side was just in the fringe there on the 8th. Sitting right up next to the hole. She needed to put that one close because Patty has played the back 9, at least the last 5 holes, better than Julie has thus far in the championship.
Yesterday at the 9th, Julie Inkster with this putt for a birdie.
Yeah!
She went to 5 under par. She held a 3-stroke advantage on Patty Sheehan going to the 10th. And Patty Sheehan made 4 birdies and a bogey on the back 9 yesterday, and she will be in much better shape going to the back 9 here this afternoon. Patty Sheehan leading this 18-hole playoff by 2 strokes. She has the match's only birdie. That was on the first hole. Julie Inkster bogeyed the 7th, and that's where we stand now.
Julie turned pro in 1983. She won her 5th event on the LPGA Tour and became the first rookie to win 2 major championships. Patty won her first event the year after she turned pro. She was still a rookie. Both of them getting off to great starts in their careers. So many years ago, Julie Simpson Inkster was Rookie of the Year.
On the front side for Julie.
Been a long time since Julie Inkster's made a putt other than a somewhat tough second putt. That's going to start to wear on her. One doesn't drop pretty soon.
It's got to be frustrating, Judy. She missed only 1 green, and that was on the 7th where she hit 2 bunkers. She's 2-putted every hole.
Missed her chance back on the 2nd, didn't she? She had a birdie opportunity on the 2nd hole, and let that one slip away.
All the strokes are significant, but this is a big one right here. This one could put Patty 3 shots up going into the back 9.
Patty has hit the hole now 3 times on the front. This has been an impressive performance by both competitors.
And Patty Sheehan completes the front side in 1 under 35.
Hour 50 minutes to complete the front 9.
1983, the year that Julie was the Rookie of the Year, Patty Sheehan was the Player of the Year. She'd already been a professional for 3 years.
On this next hole, the 10th, there was a 2-shot swing yesterday. Sheehan birdied this, Steve, and Inkster had a bogey.
Well, one of the few birdies in the tournament. This was the toughest hole on the golf course for the competitors this week. Narrow landing area. And then the second is downhill to one of those greens at Oakmont, which slopes away from you from front to back. Flagstick today placed front left. Be very difficult to get it close.
Patty Sheehan has a commanding lead, but it's fascinating how the fortunes can change so quickly in a golf competition. A bogey by Patty, and Julie rolls in a birdie, and suddenly we're all even. Certainly a lead that is not safe, is it? But Patty Sheehan has been a most solid competitor, especially following that hour and 45-minute rain delay, coming out to birdie the 17th and the 18th yesterday to force this playoff. Wonderful golf she's been playing.
She's 4 under on the back 9 for the championship, and Julie is 1 under. Not a very good position, Brent. It's such a difficult second shot to this green, unless she has a really good line sitting up in that rough.
Another different factor today from the 4 actual tournament days is that it's very, very hot and humid. I think the air is hanging very heavy and might contribute to play being a little slower than we would have expected.
Julie also in the rough. 2 tough shots coming up.
For Inkster, the better angle. Garner to maybe not go at the flag, but go to the green.
Target up ahead for them. Patty Sheehan leading by 2 strokes. We are back at Oakmont, having completed the front side of this 18-hole championship. Patty Sheehan and Julie Inkster for the title. One thing, Rhonda, that I'm always glad to do is pass along my social notes and messages. And I understand that I took the John Fina, Michelle McGann romance one step further than it deserves to be taken right now. Having misspoken yesterday that they are engaged, they are not. They are just dating. John is a fine football player out of the University of Arizona. I covered a couple of his games a couple years ago. Drafted by the Buffalo Bills, and he was here yesterday watching Michelle McGann, who wound up tied for 6th place. She had a very solid tournament of $289 and pocketed a nice check of $17,472.33, but she is not wearing an engagement ring. Every other piece of jewelry, but not an engagement ring.
But I'm sure if she gets one, you will be the first to know, Brent.
Yeah, I think so. Because even if it comes up a little bit short, she's going to kick. and take it at the TV tower, not so far right because then it'll come down. I know. TV tower is good enough.
Well, they're counting on it being a little bit drier in front of that green. That's been the problem. Shots that have hit short have stopped. Shots that have hit on the putting surface run all the way to the back
Good club
bridge.
now, good turn.
Well, I think they discussed hitting a 3-iron. It's 197 yards back to the hole, 185 to the front edge. Patty's caught as good a lie in the rough as you can have. Hit it left.
Well, now she's really got a tough play from there.
Well, Julie was not nearly so fortunate with the lie. It's some fairly thick rough. The ball sitting down. 179 back to the hole. Out of this lie, she has to hit a shot to the front portion of the green and bet on the ball running.
Carry
Living up to its toughest hole ranking here at Oakmont this week.
Steve, some of the folks switching on ESPN are finding a much slower pace of play than they expected. They tuned in to see the Grand Prix racing from Germany, and that will not be seen today due to the Women's Open playoff here at Oakmont. But you will be able to see it Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That's the Grand Prix from Germany.
There are the hardest holes here through the 4 rounds of the tournament. The 10th, the toughest, followed by the 1st and 3rd. Sheehan made birdie here yesterday, one of the few. There's another competition at stake this week, the Solheim Cup, basically the women's version of the Ryder Cup, this week and next to decide the final point gathering tournaments. Julie Inkster is in 11th spot. This is a double weighted tournament. She can jump into the first 9, which will be sure of a spot on the Solheim Cup. Patty Sheehan well within the first 9 point getters.
Well, there is a captain's pick for this team. Last year, the captain's pick was Nancy Lopez because she had not qualified for it by the point system. But I would think the captain, who again is Kathy Whitworth, would certainly give Julie Inkster great consideration.
Big turning point in the competition came yesterday on this hole. Patty Sheehan trailing by 3. And made it a swing of 2 when Julie Inkster bogeyed this hole. Inkster getting ready here. Pitch it up on this green.
With a sand wedge, she wants to just land the ball at the cut of the green and let the slope take the ball on down to the hole.
Judy, you hope it's not too soft there. That would kill an otherwise well played shot.
Go. 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 Go right. Go right.
Now you see the slopes of Oakmont. Can you believe that? A little sand wedge. It didn't even hit on the green and ran like 40 feet.
Steve Melnick, her caddy, could stand there for a couple of years and tell that ball to go right, and it's never going, is it?
No, it's not, Judy. I think it takes a lot of local knowledge to read these greens. Everything kind of breaks down to the turnpike. This golf course with 7 holes on one side of the road, 11 on the other.
Well, turnabout's fair play. Patty has caught the terrible lie this time, and I mean a very poor lie to play this shot from. Has to get a lot of grass between the club face and ball.
Green running right away from her.
Go. Go.
Well, that was close to being a well-played shot.
Well, not only a bad lie, but look at the stance she had. She had to stand in the bunker. Ball well above her feet.
Well, you get some idea of the aim here, which is a function of the slope. She's actually aiming the ball over here in hopes that when it hits the green, it will trickle down to the cup here. That's what players are faced with at Oakmont all week. She carries this ball about another 3 feet, and she may pull it off. Just landed in the heavy rough, pitched forward, and killed it. Patty's got to be very careful with this putt. Yes, it's makeable, but she can 3-putt just as quickly.
Kind of putt you have to set very high into the break and just try to let it die down to the hole, because you cannot afford to get aggressive and have another 3 or 4 feet coming back.
Some players like to put the ball out on the toe of the putter to kind of deaden it.
And she practiced that way this morning, Steve.
She had a couple of putts like that yesterday, too, on the toe of the putter.
Thought is you won't close your putt face as quickly. Starts out in the middle. Let's see if she doesn't slide it out there to the tried to the toe. Look at that.
Great putt.
Unbelievable putt.
What a 4.
When all is said and done, Patty Sheehan may look back to this 10th green as being her savior in this championship. She continues to put what is now relentless pressure on Julie Inkster. I said earlier it might be a cat and mouse game, but right now the mouse is in hiding here.
The lead grows to 3.
Frustrated because she hit a good putt.
And they go on to the par 4 11th. Patty Sheehan solidly in the lead right now, Steve.
The 11th hole, and
Thanks, Julie.
Tough hole position. You can see the big bunker short of the green there. It's going to be a difficult second shot.
Patty's played 3-wood off this tee every day. Just want to get the ball up to the top of the hill.
Coming off that great par 4 now, and her confidence has to be soaring at this point in this match.
Played this hole so beautifully yesterday, hitting that little 5-iron knockdown shot on the green.
Oh, Patty.
To the left.
And into the rough. But short of the bunker, Judy, up ahead. Here an overview of the scene at the 11th.
The driving area slopes down to the right, and so most of the players have been trying to play up the left side so that the ball will kick down into the middle of the field. Well, kick straight that time. Of course, on these fairways, it's not kicking very much at all. They've been so wet.
So we'll come back as Patty Sheehan leads Julie Inkster by 3.
Patty Sheehan opens up a 3-shot lead over Julie Inkster. We're at the 11th hole at Oakmont. Patty Sheehan will be first to play.
Plays a little long. That's some deep stuff.
Yeah.
Thinking maybe 5.
Thinking.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Choke a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, you can hear the report on the lie there. It's a difficult lie, tough lie down in the rough. 140 yards to the hole, and not really much of an area here where she can bounce the ball up. She's taken a 5-iron, and she'll have to really hold on to her grip through this shot to keep the ball in the air long enough to reach the green. It was a tough lie, Steve.
She got lucky, it appears. Judy, she just got over that wet weather creek there.
She did get lucky, but she did not get lucky with the third. It's going to be a tough pitch over the bunker.
Let's take a look at it again. Ball sitting down, as Judy said, couldn't get a clean hit on it. Grass wrapped around it. As hard as she could swing at this, this was a result of a difficult lie. Ball just nose down from there. There's a creek down below the crest of that hill. Her ball just got over it.
Take your time, Joe.
Julie has 132 yards. Right in between an 8 and a 9-iron for her, just depending on how strong she feels. Best opening she's had in some time.
Down. Just get down.
So a little chance here for Julie Inkster, who finds herself behind by 3 shots. You know, this Women's Open is the oldest major championship on the LPGA Tour. Rhonda, the first Open played back in 1946, and the United States Golf Association became the sponsor of the U.S. Women's Open in 1953.
And the first champion was Patty Berg, and I'm sure Miss Berg is watching today.
What a great competitor.
Great lady.
Rhonda, how many players were there for the first Open?
Fewer than 40, certainly. They had a number of amateurs in the early years because they didn't have enough professionals to fill out the field. Usually about half the field was made up of amateurs. This year, I believe we had 16 amateurs playing.
See that Patty Sheehan is going to Judy Rankin take a little look at the landing area up above here.
Well, she should, I don't know, 8 or 9 paces, no more than that, between the edge of the green on her line to the hole. She's got to drop a sandwich in there gently.
Now, Judy, we've seen problems throughout the week where players faced with short pitches to these greens found their balls in tight, wet lies. Have any indication of what Patty Sheehan's lie is like?
Well, her ball is fortunately in the fairway, and the 11th is a fairly high hole here. I thought the fairway, back where they played their seconds from, was the driest fairway I'd walked in today, so I think she's a good place to play from.
Stand, please.
Up and down now.
If she gets it up and down, it will be superb. That's a very difficult shot. Hard to stop it. She did. She hit into the short fringe there. First cut.
So we will continue with our coverage of the U.S. Women's Open Championship in a moment. Well, the United States Women's Open was first televised in 1965, and here it is 1992 in full 18-hole coverage of an 18-hole playoff between Julie Inkster and Patty Sheehan, with Julie trailing by 3.
Well, another putt that she can't really try to make. She's got to be very careful with.
Too careful, Judy?
Apparently so.
Not a good effort at all.
She's just, she's been faced with so many putts like that today and late yesterday. Patty played a little bit different kind of shot than I thought she would. I thought she would throw the ball high all the way to the hole or even just past the hole, but really tried to hit kind of a hard skipper in there.
Try.
The first bogey of the day, as you were going to say, Brett. I think it's going to cost Julie, though, if she does not pick up a stroke here, more than just a stroke. I don't think she can afford to not take advantage of this situation right now, mentally. And she also knows, having played with Patty 2 out of the last 4 rounds, that Patty has bogeyed the next hole, the 12th, the last 3 times she's played it.
Yes.
Wow.
Good par.
Now the lead is 2 again. Now they'll move on to this wonderful 12th hole.
It is a beast of a par 5 at 572 yards, virtually unreachable in 2 by any competitor this week. Once again, a narrow landing area, but then I think the key to the play of the hole is how you position your second shot. Do you attempt to go over those bunkers or lay up short and play a longer third? The flagstick today may be in the easiest part of the green. It's all the way in the back. Once again, this green slopes from front to back. Anything hit mid-center of the green should roll down toward the flagstick.
And Steve, Julie Inkster has played the par 5s and 3 under so far in the course of this championship. And as she and Rhonda pointed out, 3 over, all the bogeys coming here at the 12th. So Julie hasn't had the honors since the first tee, and here she is at the 12th.
That's the first ray of light that Julie has seen since about 6 o'clock last night, really, when Patty started making her birdies.
And you know, Rhonda, with all the moisture that this course has taken, and now with the sun coming out, there's going to be an increased premium on finding the fairways off the tee. I mean, that rough is going to really start to get rugged here in the next couple hours.
They are going to feel the squeeze from the tee. That is exactly right.
And Patty Sheehan has driven in the left rough in her last 3 tee shots.
See how she does here, Steve.
Shot.
That's perfect. So at a time when she needed a good tee shot and a little refreshment, Patty Sheehan leading this 18-hole playoff by 2 strokes. Shortly after 1:30 here in the Pittsburgh area, and a lot of folks have taken their lunch break and have journeyed out here to Oakmont to watch the back 9. The crowd continuing to grow here this afternoon. Very impressive attendance for the Women's Open at Oakmont. Pittsburgh has really supported this event, and in 2 more years the men will come in here for their Open. They're at Baltusrol next year, and now it's Patty Sheehan's second shot at the 12th.
Trying to play a very safe second. She put it in the right-hand fairway bunker here yesterday with the wood and just barely escaped with a bogey.
Good swing. Yeah, that's fine.
Now Julie Inkster down by 2. Picked 1 up on the previous hole.
No doubt that Julie's little bit of extra length has helped her play the par 5s here. Takes a couple of sets of bunkers out of play on this hole for her.
Very good point, Judy. Also, she's been hitting anywhere from 2 to 3 clubs less to these holes than Patty has.
So we'll continue with our coverage here on ESPN.
Sure did.
And for the first time since the championship began, it looks as though the sun is going to beam down on our new women's champion. Neither Patty Sheehan nor Julie Inkster has ever won the U.S. Women's Open. It's the biggest prize in their game.
Left of the flag, too.
This is the 3rd consecutive day that they have gone head-to-head.
Good turn there.
Well, the sun's making the rough grow, Brent, and the humidity is very high out here. Big crowd watching these 2 play. Big difference in the 2 shots they'll play into this green. Patty 177 yards.
bouncing on that green and rolling off the backside.
But not a tough play from there, Brent. It's going right back uphill.
And I believe that's the first day the hole has been cut in the back. It's always been on the front, making it a very difficult shot to the green.
Steve, where would be the perfect position for Julie to land this ball coming into this green?
Just past center. Now, Julie doesn't spin the ball. You know, she's not a real wristy or hands player, so she's not worried about backing it up. So she'll land it just past the middle of the green. In other words, she wants to land the ball somewhere right in here and let it feed on down to the cup.
Well, it's 147 yards. I can't see your picture, Steve, but I'm assuming that's to carry the ball at about the 135-yard mark.
Chance there to hit it up close. Patty
very close, aren't they?
Yeah. I'm really surprised at Julie with her experience on that particular shot. Misclubbing like that. Maybe she's just pumped up.
You know, it appeared to me that she hit a 7-iron this place so sharply downhill, and Julie's long with her irons. I'll try to check and see what she hit, but I was apprehensive about saying it because I thought that was a lot of club.
Well, there we see the two golf balls down there, and we'll be going uphill with their next shots. And again, a reminder that the Formula One Grand Prix racing from Germany not being shown on ESPN at this time because of the Women's Open playoff. But Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, it'll be Grand Prix racing from Germany here on ESPN.
Well, Judy Rankin, you've been in a position of winning tournaments many times, and you've won many tournaments. And you know, when you get in a situation like this where it's so close, the adrenaline really starts to flow, and you do hit the ball a little further coming in.
Well, you know, I think in this case, and I have been thinking about this the last few minutes, I think the adrenaline was flowing early in this match. But I think now, playing 6 or 7 days in a row here, and giving it all you've got, going home late at night from rounds of golf that were not finished and back at 7 a.m. in the morning, I think late in this round that's starting to take a toll, and I think Patty losing the ball to the left of the tee. This shot here, which really, had it been more online, might have been a very good shot from Julie. That may be a little bit tired.
Well, if they are tired, it would be in the heat and stress of playing. It would also take a toll on their concentration.
Beauty, is it more physical fatigue than mental fatigue, or maybe a combination of the two?
Well, I definitely think a combination of the two. This is when all the hours that you practice come into play, and muscle memory hopefully takes over. You know, Steve, speaking of mental or physical, these little putts like Julie has left herself, obviously there's nothing physical about it, but the mental drain is tremendous when you keep having 3 and 4 footers.
And she puts so much pressure on herself, rather than make it easy to move on to the next hole.
They're both starting to miss greens. Only Julie Inkster on 11 has hit a green in the last 3 holes.
This is not Patty Sheehan's favorite hole.
Remember the bogey she made here yesterday, Brent? A big saving putt that was about 7 or 8 feet for bogey, the big swing in it. Could have all but ended her chances here yesterday, but instead she made it.
A bogey that was just as important as those 2 birdies she made coming in.
Pace of play starting to drag down. We mentioned they played the front side of an hour at 50 minutes.
I just think that there's been so much time spent on these greens. They've worked so hard all through the week here on the greens. But it's made for longer rounds.
Here's a putt that wants to get away to the right. Remember, everything on this side of the road breaks to the back side of the 12th green.
And easily the hardest kind of putt to make, left to right.
Yeah. How good is that?
Wow. Pretty strong.
Used it all.
Oh, boy, close call. She could not afford to lose a stroke here.
She almost missed it.
The 13th hole, the shortest par 3 here at Oakmont. 4 bunkers surround this kidney-shaped green. The flagstick about the middle of the green on the left-hand side. Very narrow target from the tee, going uphill. There you see the flagstick. Sets up nicely for a shot that plays from right to left.
And that big swale, if they hit it to the right side of the flagstick, will send it right down toward the hole.
Almost like a backstop over there, Rhonda. The only birdie of the day, the opening hole by Patty Sheehan with that great iron shot out of the rough, and otherwise it's been a very conservatively played round of golf. Well, ideally from the tee, their tee shots ought to land here, and then if you can get it to feed down to the hole like that, it's always easy when you can paint it for you.
Should play very close to the measured yardage today, about 153 yards. Julie's got a 6-iron in her hand. Absolutely dead still out here at the moment. No breeze at all.
Get out.
Nice looking shot here.
That's pretty gutsy. Good play.
right here the difference in their length. Patty with one more club of 5-iron. She's answered with a pretty good shot.
Two fine shots. Patty Sheehan leading by 2.
Oakmont, Pennsylvania is one of those leafy American towns that becomes an international dateline whenever a golf championship comes to the famous course within its borders. In fact, Oakmont is a century-old borough, 13 miles northwest of downtown Pittsburgh. It is limited to 1 square mile with 7,200 residents who live mostly in single-family houses. Oakmont is distinguished by its main street, which is paved with red bricks. So if you're looking for the Oakmont Country Club, you just follow the red brick road and turn off onto Halton Road.
Well, with only one birdie, that coming back on the first hole, and now both Patty Sheehan and Julie Inkster with solid birdie opportunities here on the 13th. Patty Sheehan taking a look at how this putt might react.
Well, Patty will go first. As you said, 2 birdie opportunities. Very simply, Patty's goes from right to left. Julie's goes the other way.
Can you guys hold still, please?
Grows to 3. 5 holes to go.
And she has played those 5 holes in 5 under par for the championship, while Julie has been even par on those same 5 holes.
And look at the 14th. Julie Inkster's reaction as that one slid past, and certainly the best putter leads this competition, and Julie Inkster has made only 4 birdies on the back the entire championship, and isn't it fascinating how fate enters into it? When they marched down that fairway on the 17th yesterday, I can still see the look on Julie Inkster's face when the horn sounded and interrupted play for an hour and 45, and you can only wonder about how that delay might have settled Patty Sheehan a little bit. And she was out playfully teasing with her caddy before play resumed and hit that wonderful iron shot. Birdied the 17th, went on to birdie the 18th, and now she leads this 18-hole playoff by 3 shots. But also keep in mind that she has been in a commanding position before in a Women's Open, and that was in Atlanta a couple years ago when she let one slide away. So now the nerve issue comes into play, and Patty will be trying to get the championship, win the one that has eluded her for this great career that she has fashioned on the LPGA. She's striking now with confidence. With a 3-shot lead, she's going to be very tough to catch now if she hits the ball like that, as well as she has putted on the greens here today at Oakmont. And Julie might force a little bit too much. She knows she must make something happen here soon. That one well struck. Talked about that major disappointment down in Atlanta for Patty Sheehan, and our Frank Hannigan asked her yesterday what she had learned from that experience.
Well, I'm trying to put all of that in perspective. It was a very difficult time, but I bounced back and almost won the next week. So I'm kind of a fighting type of person. I will come back and try again until I get it right. But I've taken a lot of pressure off myself this week, and I'm just trying to keep it down to a real basic theory out there when I'm playing. I'm trying to be very basic and just stick with fundamentals and follow the ball, hit it again, and whatever happens, happens. And certainly we'll probably have some sort of disappointment tomorrow if I don't win, but it'll be an entirely different story if I do win the Open.
Patty Sheehan was so relaxed early this morning that she left her golf clubs behind and had to return and get them, and thus arrived here at the course only about 45 minutes before this playoff was to begin. And here she is now coming down the 14th fairway, solidly in control. And Judy Rankin, your observations as we reach this point in the competition.
Well, I guess the most important observation I have is that Julie Inkster looks a little bit down to me. She tried to stay up yesterday, even though she was the apparent loser in the tie, but she tried to remember that she shot 69 and played a near flawless round of golf. She's given herself opportunities today. She can't take advantage of them.
You know, back at the Dinah Shore, she was leading Judy, and Dottie Mockery managed a couple of 11th hour birdies and forced the playoff and beat Julie there. And here it looked like Julie had an Open Championship in hand, and Patty Sheehan came after her with birdies on the 17th and 18th holes, and now she's trailing by 3.
You know, I talked to Julie about the playoff at the Nabisco Dinah Shore, and I remember thinking at the 18th green that when Dottie made the putt for birdie there, Julie looked like all the air went out of her and all the fight went out of her. And I think that she was a little bit in a state of shock playing the playoff hole.
Yeah.
Patty and her caddy seem to agree on the 7-iron. It's 142 yards to the hole, tucked on the right side. And a little breeze now on top of the hill coming from the right.
Good turn now.
This is one of the few birdie holes on the back 9. We've had a bunch of them here this week.
Over here? Right here.
Well, an aggressive play at this particular time, I would say, going for that flag stick. Julie now plays from inside of 130 yards.
She had an opportunity on 12 to put it close to the hole. This may be one of her last opportunities to pick up a shot.
Nine iron here for her. She'll send the ball in there very high. Just has to get it on line.
Julie Inkster on the green here at 14, and Patty Sheehan in the bunker, and up ahead at the 18th. They have cut the last pin position. Everything is ready, but who will our new champion be? Now in that bunker at the 14th, Patty Sheehan. Great shot. Now that was just moments ago on videotape. And here is Julie Inkster bidding for a birdie on this par 4 hole.
She's left it just a little farther short of the hole than she would have liked. Left to right breaker. Desperately needs to make a putt.
She's left many of them short today, those long ones. Didn't take her time over the putt, thinking about her situation more than the shot at hand.
Well, she looked good set up to it. Just take a little outside. Hit it through the break. She's done that several times today. She's almost too firm with her short putts. We said that was an asset, but only if you hit it where your intended line is.
Well, these players are both great sports, and they will show that on the final hole, but either player would have been just devastated by a loss. They both have wanted it so much for so long.
Sheehan's lead 4 strokes. Solidly in command here. The 15th.
Brent, it's a tremendous par 4, 396 yards. The players play across the crest of a hill to a landing area between those two bunkers, and then it's a long iron second with a downhill side hill lie to a long sloping green from left to right. The flag stick today is in the front left-hand portion. Every flag stick offers some birdie opportunities for Inkster. She'd better hit it close here, or holes are running out pretty quickly right now.
Patty's got the driver here. A little breeze has come up in the player's face. Very tough hole when it plays long.
Not the only way that this is going to tighten up is if Patty Sheehan makes mistakes. Julie Inkster has only one birdie on these finishing 4 holes throughout the championship. And not the way she's striking the ball right now. Patty Sheehan is beginning her march toward her first Open championship.
They call them here on the right of 15. Let's take a look at a comparative analysis of the 2 swings. On the left, Patty Sheehan, far more athletic swing. She swings the club more with her hands and arms. She starts the club head first in the backswing. Let's take a look at Sheehan to the top of her backswing. Sets the club nicely, pivots into her right side beautifully. Straight left arm. Club head just past parallel. Now Inkster's a little different. She's more of the one-piece swing. She really kind of starts the handle first, and what that does is turns the body and the hands and arms and club all together in one motion. Sets the club a little later in her backswing, just short of parallel at the top. Now on the forward swing, watch how far behind the ball that Sheehan's head remains at impact. Inkster a little more centered over the ball at impact. Well back for Sheehan. Great extension going through. Inkster more centered over the ball. But great extension for both swings on the follow through. Sheehan plays right to left. Inkster's ball kind of drops right for the most part.
Well, Rhonda and Steve, I think you would agree with me that Pittsburgh and Oakmont have done a wonderful job of hosting this women's championship. I'm certainly going to remember that one wake-up call from actor Bruce Willis at about 5:30 when the fireworks display began over Three Rivers with this new movie. I haven't been awakened in quite that fashion. I didn't know what to make of it, but it was a great fireworks display. I hope that they shot it well so we could see it in the movie again.
Pittsburgh's a great town, and Oakmont, what a wonderful host club. They honored the ticket holders' tickets today, so everyone here probably is here as a result of having had not only season tickets but the daily passes.
That's about the only thing we've missed to the newspapers, and I hope their strike is over soon and everybody gets back to work.
Newspapers went on strike on press day for the Women's Open.
Julie has a miserable lie. 174 yards from the hole. It's on the
go up in the air.
Steep.
That's what I'm thinking.
You didn't get that there?
Upslope.
Yeah, I think you can get that there.
Of that church pew.
I was thinking 5-6. 6 is because it's going to go up in the air. It's like 5. Yeah, 60 from.
Stance is awkward. The ball's going to shoot up in the air very fast. When it does that, it's hard to hit it far enough. I saw her walk to this ball shaking her head. I can't tell you how hard it is when you realistically have something like this in your sights and you're just a few holes from having it in your hand. What a letdown it is when you begin to realize it is not going to happen. Anything can still happen, but she's very down right now.
Fade a little. Fade a little.
Very well. Wonderful, wonderful shot from where she was.
She needed a good shot, Judy, at that point.
Well, Julie knows you don't give up in golf. She saw Patty Sheehan refused to give up yesterday, and look what happened.
Take it right at it, too.
A little better than 160 right to the hole. Hit it fat.
And short. And our live coverage. The 18-hole playoff for a championship will continue.
The Oakmont Country Club was created in 1903 when American golf was still in its infancy, before the profession of golf course architect even existed. So Oakmont was laid out by the club's founder, the formidable Henry Phones, a steel executive with a penchant for golf. He was assisted by his son William Phones, who later compiled an enviable record as a player and administrator. He won the U.S. Amateur Championship in 1910, was captain of the first U.S. Walker Cup team in 1922, and became president of the USGA in the late 20s.
We are back, and Patty Sheehan short of this green. Steve Melnick, how will this pitch react?
Well, it depends on her lie, Brent. You know, if it's a tight, wet lie, she's going to be a little defensive with it. She has a choice of sort of a pitch and run.
Sandwich, because if you pitch and run it, you know, I don't know where you're going to hit. I kind of like carrying the sandwich on there, because then even behind the flag, it even goes up a little bit. So, you know, it's going to slow it.
Well, I couldn't have said it better.
Well, you know, even if Julie Inkster could manage a one-shot swing here, she might have new life. 17th birdie hole, and anything can happen at the tough 18th.
Yeah, Judy, this is where the march began yesterday for Patty. She birdied this hole, didn't she?
Travel down there. Come on. Come on. Good shot.
Judy told you how close Julie Inkster had come to a Open Championship yesterday, and worth looking at one more time. This putt at the 18th was for the title.
Get him, baby.
Just about a foot. But it left the door ajar, and Patty Sheehan made her birdie putt to force this 18-hole playoff, which began around 11 o'clock Eastern time. It is now a little bit after 2 o'clock. We're on the 15th hole. Julie Inkster without a birdie in her round so far, and 3 bogeys. 2 birdies and 1 bogey for Patty Sheehan. And Patty has been the best putter of the two. Now Julie.
She's never put any pressure on Patty Sheehan. As a result, it's been, I won't say easy, but Sheehan has never really been pressed.
And Patty has only hit 1 green in regulation figures on this back 9, so there were some openings for Julie.
Inkster herself 1 over on the, make that 2 over on the backside.
look at the 7th one-putt green, wouldn't she?
Indeed she would. 4 of those have been on this back 9. She has managed to stay in there despite not hitting the ball quite as well as she did on the front.
She's been putting with authority. And does again. 7 one-putt greens.
More importantly, Brent, 5 in a row on this backside.
Yeah, it's pretty tight right there.
16 is a stout par 3 at 206 yards. It's carry all the way to this elevated and tabletop green. Series of bunkers on the left. Pick up those shots that turn to the left, but that bunker on the right really sets up the hole. The flagstick today, 20 paces from the front, just about in the middle of the green.
Steve, this is the only hole on the course that neither Julie nor Patty has birdied between them at least once in the competition.
It's generally, Brent, a fairway wood for the competitors this week, and she is going with what looks to be a 4-wood.
She carries a railer, a utility metal club, just about the loft of a 4-wood, 16 degrees of loft.
Slightly, excuse me, Judy.
207 yards today.
Slightly more difficult hole for Patty Sheehan because of the bunker on the right side, and she plays the ball right to left.
Well, this little club allows you to hit the ball very high. The tee's slightly elevated here.
Textbook setup.
To the right side. Now a similar club from Julie Inkster. She carries a utility wood that's wooden.
That's her caddy, Ralph Scarenzi, checking her alignment. It's okay to do this until you get to the putting green.
Hang on. Down. Down.
Well, Judy Rank and I have been giving all these social notes throughout this championship. Aren't you and Yippee getting ready to host a big event down in Texas here soon?
Oh, Brent, how nice of you. Yes, our son is getting married in less than 2 weeks now to a lovely girl, Jennifer Justice, from Paris, Texas.
Well, we wish them both the very best. Meanwhile, Yippee called and said you should get home and complete arrangements. He's tired of doing it alone. And we will continue with our coverage here of the 18-hole playoff in a moment. Patty Sheehan probably teasing us. She wants to one-putt another green here, Rhonda.
Well, she's one-putted 5 out of the last 6, having only hit 1 green on this back 9. And her score is just incredible. She's even par. That doesn't usually happen in the U.S. Open with the length of rough that they have and the speed of the greens.
Well, this would not be a terribly difficult shot, but she's caught a pretty nasty lie. Has to keep the club moving through it.
She has played so well. Not only this round, but yesterday after the rain delay and throughout actually most of her round yesterday.
You have to wonder if there's a little bit of destiny to this. I mean, with lightning striking just before that shot on 17. And the fact that she's been able to get it up and down.
Rhonda, I was just thinking the same thing. In some sort of way, she has paid her dues in the United States Open. She's played well in any number of them. she's had them in her grasp and let them go. You know, she could have seen all that's happened to her in Opens as a down thing, but she came in here and made it a positive. She said, how many people get another chance after what I did?
Well, you mentioned what has happened to her in Opens. Going back to 1988, she pulled to within 1 stroke in the last round and then had a terrible first hole as she teed off in that fourth round. In the following year at Indianwood, she had an early double bogey, losing to Betsy King. And of course, Atlanta, losing that 9-stroke lead. And we are reminded that she started yesterday's round with 2 bogeys, but today was different. It began with a birdie. Maybe that foretold what was going to happen.
I may suggest she doesn't practice so long anymore. That was some 2-iron at the first hole.
And as you know, that is a hard club for a woman to hit. It's much easier for men to hit long irons than for women to do it, but Patty Sheehan's certainly one of the best.
I like the forward press that Sheehan gives just before she takes the putter back. It really triggers the entire stroke.
That's 5 straight. 1-putt greens. Birdie on 13. And 3 after that, and also back on the 12th. Great save.
Putter blade down the line. There are days when you come out on the golf course and everything looks good, the stroke feels good, and you see the line and you make it. That's what's happening today.
Oh, boy. This is when you get to the point where you feel, just let me get in. Just let me off this golf course and let me go to the locker room.
Patty Sheehan, 2 holes away from her first U.S. Women's Open Championship. Not a crowd gathering here at 18 and awaiting our new champion. Come striding down that fairway, and in all likelihood, it is going to be Patty Sheehan. Both women attended and played golf at San Jose State. Good friends through the years, and they will likely remain good friends after today, too. Here's Patty.
That's okay.
Sit.
Get out of here. She's in the rough.
Well, as has happened in the past, her swing sometimes gets a little loose toward the end, especially when she's tired, and seems to be that way now.
Well, by any measure, the
Well, it was yesterday afternoon. They both struck their tee shots here at the 17th, and they were striding down the fairway. Julie Inkster leading by 2 shots. Watch the reaction when the warning horn sounds. and it has not been the same in this championship since then. There was a delay of 1 hour and 45 minutes. Patty Sheehan came back out and struck this iron on the 17th. It was from that spot that Patty Sheehan made her first birdie. Julie's lead down to 1. Then on the 18th tee, Patty found the rough, but she also found some casual water. And from that spot, she was given a drop. And we will take a look at that when we get down in the 18th fairway. But right now, Julie Inkster at 4 over par for her round. Patty Sheehan 1 under. Through 16 holes right now, there is a 5-stroke separation.
Brent, it's been amazing to look at the statistics of the two players through the first 16 holes. Inkster's hit 13 of 16 greens and is 4 over par. Sheehan's hit 9 of 16 greens and is 1 under par.
Great scrambling.
Well, isn't it very often the case in major championships the putter makes all the difference?
Judy Rankin, let me ask you a question. I have a feeling that Patty might be acting really elated were she playing someone else in this stretch. She's playing against her best friend, and it must make a difference in sort of her persona and the way she feels about it.
Well, I don't think she would be elated at this moment, regardless of who she was playing. She's had the experience of not having the cap on the bottle, and she's not going to let her emotions let down until this round's finished. Both of these players are very emotional players, and they've had a lot to control and a lot to cope with for several days here. I think that they'll come out of this just fine because they've both had careers that parallel each other.
Patty, of course, has been a professional for 3 years more than Julie Inkster.
Yeah, don't you? I think it's just a good wedge. Yeah.
And her number of victories almost doubles that of Inkster. Only 2 away from the Hall of Fame.
Julie, though, with a reputation for playing hard golf courses very well. Patty out of some light rough now, 112 yards, pitching wedge. Not been for a couple of short putts missed, this could have presented opportunity for Julie. Now the only way she could really make opportunity, I think, would be to hit it in the hole.
Well, she's in the slope of that bunker face, did not go down. Not a particularly difficult shot from there.
Well, Julie Inkster can go in here with a sand wedge.
Shot. And we'll be back as Patty Sheehan and Julie Inkster come to the 17th green. Well, again, it is Patty Sheehan going pitch it up onto this green. She's had 5 straight one-putt greens, and she'd like to get close enough to make it 6.
You know, in Inkster's case, sometimes you get so down you can't concentrate. That's her problem now, is trying to focus on her business at hand and try to make a good putt here.
Julie Inkster may be down, but she has sincere feelings of friendship for her opponent here. She said this morning in an interview that she believed that after this was over, she and Patty Sheehan would come out of it as even better friends. Well, it gives you a little of your self-respect back anyway. Get a nice birdie there on 17.
Her first of the day. A weak smile.
Well, Julie Inkster picks up a couple here, but still trails by 3, and it was here yesterday where Patty Sheehan forced the 18-hole playoff. This is the second shot on the 18th, and it came after Julie had put her ball up on the green. Julie missed that putt we showed you a short time ago, and this the putt for the tie. And now Patty Sheehan will hit after Julie Inkster, and Patty leading by 3. Here's Julie.
Still tagging it off the tee.
Both of them found the fairway here in the 18th, and the crowd awaits their arrival.
When the 1969 U.S. Amateur Championship came to Oakmont, only one player was able to cope with Oakmont's legendary fast and firm greens. That was our man Steve Melnick, who won the amateur here with a score of 286, 5 shots ahead of the field. Steve Melnick was the king of American amateurs then, and it was a tough league. In Steve's wake that year were the likes of Tom Watson, Lanny Watkins, Tom Kite, and John Mahaffey.
Our backdrop, Patty Sheehan at even par with a 3-shot advantage, closing in on her first U.S. Women's Championship. This has been a venue for champions. 6 U.S. Opens have been held here. This the first for the women. And it's been so successful that you'd have to believe that down the road at some time, the women would come back here for another crack at mighty Oakmont. Just imagine now the feelings that Patty Sheehan is trying to repress just a little bit, having blown that 9-shot advantage down in Atlanta, and
just take turn and tempo now.
Her dream right in front of her eyes.
Well, she's got 168 yards and one more good swing, and I don't believe she can avoid being a U.S. Open champion.
But doesn't seem to be in any great difficulty back there. Will
60 on top.
Brent, she can surely make 5 from back there. I think that's the key here.
Well, I think Julie's going to try to take dead aim on the hole one last time.
Turn in. Turn it. Turn it.
And now the walk. Like in 1962, Jack Nicklaus defeated Arnold Palmer for his first professional victory here at a U.S. Open. Tommy Armour won an Open here. Sam Parks Jr., Ben Hogan, Larry Nelson, and then how about Johnny Miller after that round of 63. And what a feeling this is going to be for Patty Sheehan and Julie Inkster, who have brought this U.S. Women's Open Championship all the way to an 18-hole playoff. It's been great stuff.
Brent, we watched Nick Faldo gut out a win last week in the British Open. And I think it's, in a sense, what Sheehan has done on this backside today. She has not played well. She's reached down and saved pars where bogey stared her in the face. She comes here with a 3-shot lead. Look at the difference. That, I think, is the telling story here in this playoff today. 33 putts for Inkster through the first 17 holes. Sheehan with 26. painful graphic for Julie Inkster.
Julie Inkster trying to close out this championship by going birdie birdie. How ironic that would be on the 2 holes that Patty Sheehan birdied yesterday to force this playoff. Well, a wonderful championship for Julie Inkster. But one that's going to hurt for a time because she came so close. Didn't putt well today. Trying to appear outwardly calm, but knowing that this championship is hers. Patty Sheehan. Sheehan has captured her first United States Women's Open Golf Championship. And a hug with her dear friend, Julie Inkster. So happy and yet so drained, having battled 4 rounds and then an 18-hole playoff, and now going in to sign the scorecard, and we'll come back for the ceremony. We'll hear from Patty Sheehan.
Ready?
Judy Rankin, there is the prize, and Patty Sheehan has captured her first Open championship, and it was just a wonderful tournament.
Well, it really has been, Brent, and it's a wonderful prize for the player that takes it home. Two very emotional players here. It's been a long, hard week. You could see that as they left the 18th green.
Yeah, it's been quite grueling. I think on the first round, Patty said it took her about 9 hours because of the rain delay just to complete that opening round.
Well, you'd be hard-pressed to say this week that golfers are not athletes. These people have put out a lot, mentally and physically.
You know, we can't say enough about the crew here at Oakmont, too, and the job they did, just getting this course back into playing condition each time after the rains came.
Well, the grounds crew has been tremendous, and I think women's golf owes a thanks to everyone from Oakmont Country Club that hosted this event and gave them the opportunity to play one of the finest golf courses in the nation.
Judy, what does this mean now to Patty Sheehan? She let the one major championship get away a couple years ago. How will this impact her and her career?
Well, I think personally it's an achievement for her that she will really treasure for a long time, because it's one thing to win when you get the opportunity. It's another thing to have lost when given that opportunity on numerous occasions and keep trying and finally get over that hurdle. So I think this will be more special to her than had she won the first time.
How about Julie Inkster now? She has been stung in a couple of the majors this year, beaten out at the Nabisco Dinah Shore by Dottie Mockery, and so disappointed here this weekend. How will it impact her?
Well, you know, Julie will continue to play. She has the support of her husband and teacher, Brian. She has a 2-year-old daughter. She's really come back from giving birth and learning to play golf again and learning to cope with having a child on the sidelines, trying to concentrate on golf while you're a good mother at the same time. And she's proven this year you can play very well and do that.
Special significance to the women's golf tour in general in having a championship like this?
Well, I think this has showcased women's golf. I think they have proven that they can cope with all kinds of circumstances. I think we've gotten to know some wonderful young players, Donna Andrews, Michelle McGann. They've had wonderful weeks also.
Okay. Well, right now, we're going to go out to Ann Beard, who is the chairman of the Women's Committee for the United States Golf Association. She is going to present our new champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present Patty Sheehan, the 1992 United States Women's Open champion.
Well, Patty Sheehan, congratulations. It was a heroic effort. And after all these years and these many tries, these comebacks, what does it feel like to be Women's Open champion?
It's a major load off my back, I'll tell you. After the 1990 Open, and I was so devastated and so upset, I didn't really know that I'd have another chance, and I just thank God that I did. I want to say hi to my family. I love you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow. I love everyone right now. I don't even believe it. Thank you. It's just an incredible feeling. Rhonda, thank you.
I understand that this morning that you were so relaxed that you came to the golf course without your golf clubs and had to go back for them.
That's true. I'm staying about 25 minutes away, and fortunately I got here pretty early, and I got out of the car, and Becky Gaston, my manager, said, "Patty, did you bring your clubs?" I said, "Oh my God." I didn't, and so we got back in the car, and I drove about 60, 70 miles an hour the whole way. I just thank all the cops for not picking me up. And fortunately got here in time to hit a few balls, and I just can't even believe this day. It's just a marvelous day in my life, and I'll never forget it. Thank you.
Patty, you have played against numerous opponents for all of the 29 wins of your career, but today you were playing against perhaps your best friend in golf. When things started to go your way and you looked like you had it won the last couple of holes, did it make you feel any differently knowing that you were winning but your best friend was losing?
Well, Julie is a champion herself. She has won many, many tournaments. She and I went to college together, and she taught me all I know, so I thank her for this. But it was a little difficult at times to try to keep perspective, and I was just glad that I had a big enough lead so that I could kind of stumble in. But Julie's a great person. She's a great friend of mine, and I think she played an awesome tournament, and she's a lot younger than I am, so she'll have many more chances.
Julie Inkster, runner-up in the U.S. Women's Open Championship, and her daughter Haley. Hi, Haley. Julie, it was a great effort. You had a great championship. I know it was difficult. Patty's one of your best friends, and I know you're happy for her.
I'm very happy for her. She played great. She's a true competitor. You know, you put your heart and soul in it for this stuff.
Well, Julie Inkster has overcome. She certainly worked hard for the past 5 rounds, and what a great performance. 4 under par during this championship. And that's a pretty nice consolation prize, too, that she's holding. Patty, I'd just like to ask you, this is the Women's Open Championship. Where do you put this in your career? Where does it rank?
Well, I tell you what, this is probably the most important win that I could possibly get in my career. Now I only need one more tournament win to get to the Hall of Fame.
Well, we had 2 great champions here today, Julie Inkster and Patty Sheehan. A great performance, 4 under par from both of them during the 72 holes. It's terrific. Back to you, Brent.
Rhonda, thank you very much. Fine job. And so the woman who forgot her golf clubs gets to Oakmont on time and wins an 18-hole playoff with her best friend in golf to capture her first United States Women's Open Golf Championship. Patty Sheehan. And we'll come back and wrap it up here on ESPN in just a moment.
Take the trophy forward and just walk around the post.
Try that again?
Yeah, with it intact.
For the champion Patty Sheehan, this was the moment yesterday. A putt she had to make. And then with that same fiery determination, she went out today and won the 18-hole playoff. It was the thrill of victory for Patty Sheehan. And the other side for Julie Inkster. So many people need to be thanked, none more so than Sandy Higgs of the LPGA, who helped us throughout our coverage here on ESPN and ABC. And Patty Sheehan is our new Open champion. ESPN, the Total Sports Network, has been proud to bring you the United States Women's Open Golf Championship. For Rhonda Glenn, Judy Rankin, Frank Hannigan, and Steve Melnick, I'm Brent Musburger. thanking you for joining us.